Hi, it's now been almost 2 months since I gave birth to my baby, and I found the time, while she's sleeping of course, to make a video about my natural home birth experience, which was actually also a free birth. If you don't know what free birth means, it's like a home birth, it's a natural birth, but it's without a midwife. So a lot of women, they just do it with their husband or their partner. I did it with a friend, and so I really want to share about this experience because it was super amazing and empowering, and it was exactly how I wanted to bring my baby into this world. And I think it's becoming a trend now, not just a trend, but a remembering of the way that women used to birth without medication, without medical professionals, without hospitals, without uncomfortable settings and unnecessary procedures. And I really want to share this in hopes of inspiring other women and giving other women confidence to also bring in their babies into this beautiful world in this way. So I think I'll split this video up into 3 parts because it is a lot to talk about. And the first today I want to share is about why I chose natural birth. And if you know me, then you don't really need to ask that question. It's just kind of obvious. I'm a holistic health practitioner. I do nutrition consulting, and I have my master's in social work, so a lot involved with psychology and wellness and health. And so I've also been kind of against the system in many ways in terms of healthcare and just in terms of knowing that many diseases can be prevented and cured, but the system isn't really doing much to help people in that way. And so I knew from the start when I found out that I was pregnant that I wanted to have the most natural pregnancy that I could, as well as the most natural birth experience that I could have. But when I pictured it and what turned out to actually happen was a bit different, because I thought I would have my baby in water, and I also expected to have a midwife. So that is one reason that I chose this country to live in, is because there is a natural birth center that had pools and water births, but I ended up not even going that route. So when I first found out I was pregnant, I wanted to learn about everything. I felt a bit unprepared, even though now I see that the woman's intuition knows more than a lot of other books can give us. Just talking to other women too gives us a lot of information. And so I wanted to go out and go to the bookstore and buy books about natural birth and pregnancy and all of these things, even about parenting, because I was like, oh wow, this is it's a huge change in your life to take care of another human being. And so I was able to get the book called Gentle Birth, Gentle Mothering, and this is written by a woman that is a health practitioner. She's an MD, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. She's also a mother of 4, and she's naturally birthed each one of her children. And so to get experience from women who have also done it is really invaluable. But the reason why that women choose natural birth is many, many, many reasons. And so one is to have your own setting. So to have it in your own house, you feel comfortable there. You feel like you know every room in the house. You can move around. You can go to the bedroom. You can go to the bathroom. You can go to the kitchen and get yourself something to drink. You can have the people in there that you want to have. You can decide every single thing you want for your own birth. And this is one of the most important days of your life. This is like a huge, very intense emotional experience. And to do it in a place where you feel uncomfortable, especially all of these connotations with the hospital, just disease, sickness, death, all of these things, you don't really want that when you're bringing your baby into the world. You want somewhere that you feel comfortable. And when you're going through these contractions, this is what you need. You need to feel comfort. You can't feel, when you feel uncomfortable, it's gonna not go well. It's gonna be painful, it's gonna last much longer than it needs to, but when you feel comfortable, you can just open up and flow with it, and you're able to birth your baby much more easily. And that's why I chose home birth, is because you can be in control. Where you're at, you can invite who you want to invite in, you can eat when you want. A lot of hospitals have policies that the women can't eat or drink. Some places you can't even bring your husband in, and especially with all of this COVID stuff going on, like there are a lot more restrictions on that. I had a friend recently give birth in China And her husband, she did it at a private place too, and she paid so much money to do it naturally, and they ended up pressuring her. They wanted her to do a C-section, but she didn't. She said no, no, no. She was very firm. But her husband wasn't able to be there. She had to call him on the phone, and he was in the other room, so he wasn't even able to be there for the birth of their son. And this is so unfortunate. So when you're at home, you can pick who you want. You can have your mom there, you can have your best friend there, you can have your partner there, and you're able to feel much, much, much more comfortable. Going off of what I said about my friend in China, even though she decided to go with a private center and not at a public hospital, because most public hospitals, they're pushing C-sections, they're pushing epidurals, inducing labor, all of these things. If you go over your due date, which is totally normal when you're in your first pregnancy, I would say that's even a good thing. That means your baby is getting enough nutrients in the womb and your baby is just hanging in there a little bit longer. That's totally normal. The baby is going to come out when the baby is ready. And so a lot of hospitals, when they have the due date and then the woman goes over the due date, they're pressuring the woman, oh, where's the baby? They might even induce labor and start these fake contractions with chemical medication. And this is affecting the hormones of the mom and the baby, which is going to affect the milk supply later on. And C-sections are the same. So when you are birthing your baby through your stomach and not naturally, somebody is taking your baby out of you. You're not getting this empowering experience, and your milk supply is also going to drop because of this. Your hormones, you're more likely to get postpartum depression, all of these things. So these are all more reasons to do a natural home birth. Another reason that I chose natural birth and a lot of women chose natural birth is because of the recovery time. After birth, they say it only takes about 40 days if you naturally birth your child to recover. And this isn't just your physical body, but also how it feels. So not just how it looks, but how you feel too. Birth is very, very tiring, so I did stay in bed for over a week, and then even walking, if I walked for 10 minutes, I felt really tired. And now that it's been about a month and a half, almost 2 months, I'm hiking up mountains and walking, and the body is able to recover a lot faster. I knew 100% that I wanted no drugs around me. I consult clients that have diseases like diabetes and things like this, and they can cure it completely with diet and mindset, exercise, 100% lifestyle. So I know, okay, this isn't even a medical issue. This isn't a disease. This is a pregnancy. This is a birth. This is like a sacred experience. And so to bring in chemical medication to that is super unnecessary. Yes, it gets painful, but if you're able to deal with that in a natural way, then you're really able to deal with anything. And now I feel like I can do so many more things. I feel like I can do anything now that I've given birth naturally. So it's such an empowering experience, and that alone is going to help ward off the postpartum depression, because your connection with your baby and just knowing that you're able to bring your baby into this world in a peaceful way is really beautiful. And if you think about, if you're at the hospital, even if you are naturally minded like me, if you're into holistic health, if you're doing a plant-based diet, all of these things, if you like to live in nature, and you decide, okay, but I want to do it at the hospital, but I'm going to do it naturally, the mindset there is about problems. So people are already thinking about problems there. They're checking in on you. They're checking about things that could possibly go wrong. And when you have that mindset, you're more likely to think about these things, and it's stressing you out. And so this is why I didn't really have many checkups during my pregnancy, is because they don't really do much. If you get an ultrasound, it is radiating the tissue and causing heat to the tissue. Some of the ones that aren't so modern aren't so bad. I did actually get 2 ultrasounds when I was pregnant, and I'm happy that I got the first one because I was able to see the baby, and that caused, I felt more of a connection. I felt, okay, there really is a human being growing inside of me. I knew I was pregnant, but I didn't really, I don't know, if you don't feel the movements yet and you can't, I wasn't really showing. So once I had that picture, I was like, wow, this is really beautiful. But some women choose to not even do ultrasounds. And I don't think that's irresponsible. I think that's great, because you're doing everything. You're listening to your intuition. You're trusting yourself more than you're trusting these people that don't really know you. They might see you a few times, but they don't really care about you like your partner or your family or yourself. And so to take care of yourself is what you need to do, and it's taking responsibility for your own body and your own pregnancy, and you're practicing listening to your body, which is something you really, really need to do when you're in labor and having contractions. But when you're in the hospital, even if you decide, I'm doing this with no drugs, you tell the people, you have your birth plan, maybe you have a doula there, you have your partner there, you have your midwife there, and you tell them all, I'm not taking any drugs, I don't want an epidural, I don't want a C-section. Everybody understands this, but at the same time, the medical professionals in this place are trained and they have these things ready. So it's like if you're an alcoholic and you're trying to stop drinking, but you keep going to the bar and there's alcohol all around you and you're tempted, or you're on a diet and you keep going to your friends for ice cream or McDonald's or pizza. You go to your friend's house and you know it's like Super Bowl Sunday and there's going to be chicken wings and pizza and all of this stuff. It's like when you have this stuff next to you, you're much more likely to take it. And so for me, I put myself in a situation where I didn't even have a choice. Even if I decided last second, oh, this is so painful, I didn't know it was going to be this painful, I need something to take right now, I need some drugs, some painkillers, there wasn't any around. I couldn't even get any if I wanted to. To go to the nearest town would take me, it would take me too long. It's not a possibility. And so this is another reason I really recommend home birth and just not even having the option, because when you know it's there and you're in the moment and it's painful, I wouldn't necessarily say painful, it's just a different experience and you're not used to it, then you're more likely to just say, okay, I want to get out of this. This has been going on for too long. Just give me the painkillers. And you think it's not a big deal, but it really is, because it's going to affect you and it's going to affect the baby. And I'm not saying that people that don't do natural births aren't able to connect with their babies. Of course they are, and of course there's other ways to get your milk supply up. I do have a friend that had a C-section that was out of milk after 4 days, but she was able to get it back up with other methods. And there's a great organization called La Leche League, and they're all over the world in different countries. And so they also have a book as well, but they have different people like that are guides, I guess, that are helping women with problems with milk supply. But this is a huge thing, and breastfeeding your child as well is creating a lifelong bond. It's for the IQ, for health, for the entire life. This is so important. So all of these things are going together. The next reason I chose a natural birth is because I didn't want the cord to be cut too soon, because the more I learned about the placenta and about how it is nourishing the baby for the entire time in the womb, and about the umbilical cord, and when the child is born, you wait until the placenta is also born, and then it's still pulsing when it comes out. It's like vibrating, and so the blood is still going into the child, into the baby, and the lungs are still developing. So the lungs are one of the last organs to develop, and they're so important. This is our breath. This is our life. A reminder to breathe deeply right now, especially if you're pregnant. Everything is going to be okay. No need to worry. But this is another reason, because in the hospital, they just cut it right off like it's nothing. They do not respect this beautiful organ at all. And so I knew that I wanted to leave, to do delayed cord clamping, so to leave the placenta on for a bit and to leave the cord and not cut it. I actually did a full lotus birth, which means that I didn't cut it at all. It actually just came off of the baby's belly button naturally, and it took like a little bit over 4 days, about 5 days, which was longer than I expected, to be honest. I didn't actually plan to do that because I thought, okay, once all of the blood is in the baby and once the cord stops pulsating, it actually takes longer for it to shrivel up and to become totally hard. And when it was totally hard, I touched it to see if she would react, and she didn't. So I knew, okay, if I cut it, she probably won't cry, but I still didn't feel right about it. But I think leaving it on the longest as possible, I mean, at least an hour. They literally cut it within 10 seconds. It's terrible. And that is one of the biggest reasons that I did natural birth as well, was the cord. And this is, again, affecting the baby for the entire life. Why do you think everybody is stressed out? Because they can't breathe. Why can't they breathe? Because their cords were taken. And what are they doing with these placentas anyway? They're using them for stem cell research, and these placentas are so rich in nutrition. This is why a lot of women eat the placenta, or they make pills out of the placenta. They make like herbal capsules. I did not eat the placenta because I was open to it, but it was a feeling that I had. I just felt like, okay, this isn't food. I put salt on it. I put lavender on it, but I'll talk more about that in the next video about my actual birth experience and preparing for the natural birth. So that was just a little bit about why I chose home birth and why many women chose home birth, natural birth, free birthing. There's a lot of other information out about this. I really recommend the books Gentle Birth, Gentle Mothering, all of these things. There are also a lot of podcasts. I really like the Free Birth Society podcast. I was listening to it when I was pregnant, and yeah, this is just such a huge event, and it's going to be a huge day for you, a huge day for the baby. This is the baby's birthday. This is the day that you're going to remember the most, and you can tell the story later to your baby, because so many women have really traumatic birth experiences. And I mean, it's stressful enough having a baby. The first few days, it's like a lot to adjust to. You're super tired as well. I was very tired because I was in labor during the night, so I didn't get a chance to sleep. And so you're really exhausted, you're tired, and it's a lot to adjust to. And so you really want to start this journey into motherhood in the best way possible for you and your baby. Because a lot of women, they do this hospital birth, they think, okay, this is what the normal modern thing is, this is what people do, what if there's problems? There usually are not problems, and if you're healthy, then it's going to be fine. If you're low risk, then the best thing to do is have your baby at home, because there are so many other problems that can happen in the hospital that affect you and your baby for the entire life. And so I hope that this video makes people think about this a little bit more, maybe consider home birth. It's not dangerous. People called me brave for doing it at home, especially here in Ecuador. Oh, valoroso, you're so brave. And I was like, no, it was actually super comfortable for me because I was in a setting. It was a very new bodily experience for me, and to have a new experience in your body, you want to be in a setting that you feel comfortable in. I can't even imagine being in a weird place in a brightly fluorescent lit environment. There's so many reasons. There's another reason is because when the baby comes out, you want it to be calm, you want it to be dark. So I had my baby at night. You can't choose the time, unfortunately, but it was dark outside, and so it's dark in the womb as well, and so it's less of a shock when the baby comes out. In the hospital, it's like super bright fluorescent lights, and then when the baby comes out, they're like shocked, and then the cord is cut, and then usually the doctor takes the baby away to wash the baby, which is super unnecessary. There's another reason. All of the moisturizing, the moisturizing stuff, I don't know what it's called. There's a medical name for it, but it's like white stuff all around the baby. You just leave that on. I left it on. I didn't wash my baby because it's moisturizing their skin, and the smell is so addictive, and this is creating this strong bond between the mom and the baby. Because a lot of women, they have the C-sections, the doctor takes the baby away, they're giving the baby back. Is that even your baby? Who knows? They're saying your baby has jaundice, which can be treated naturally and it goes away. You put the baby in the sun for a little bit, but they're putting the baby in these boxes away from the mom. They're not having skin-to-skin contact. I thought I was done with this video, but I'm not done because there's so many other things. This stuff, this moisturizing stuff that is on the baby, you smell it. I was smelling my baby like constantly for 2 weeks, just like, oh, it's amazing. And I still feel so connected to this baby. I don't feel annoyed. I know a lot of women, you get the postpartum depression and you sometimes feel a little irritated because you don't have hands anymore. You've got one hand. You can't even eat a mango. I'm trying to eat a mango with one hand, cutting it. It's not working. I mean, you need the most help you can get. I've got my partner helping me right now. I'm away from family. But it's a lot of work. But when you don't have the natural birth experience and you have a traumatic birth experience, you have to go through that emotionally for yourself and still be there emotionally for your child, process everything you went through. My friend was just, you get touched when you don't want to be touched in the hospital. They're violating you and your body. My friend is telling them, no, 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 stop. They're putting her hands up there. They're reaching and pulling the baby out of her. They're using forceps in a lot of cases. They're using instrumental delivery, which means they're taking something unnatural and ripping your baby out of you, when your baby is going to come out naturally when you want it to, and you don't even need to push. They're telling you to push. It's unnecessary. You're getting stressed. The tearing, this is another reason I had no tearing at all. I was scared of this. I know even in natural birth that happens, because this is, yeah, it can tear. But if you're stressed out and you're pushing and you're laying on your back, this is the 100th reason. You're in a position that you should not be in. You should be squatting. You should be like, whoo, letting gravity help you out, getting this baby out of you, but you're on your back in the hospital. How does that make any sense? If you research the history of all of these things and why the woman is laying on their back with the legs in these just unnatural positions, it's for the doctor. It's to make it easier for the doctor, for them to see everything. They say, oh, we can't deliver your baby if you're squatting. It's hard for us. This isn't about the doctor. This is about you and your baby. It's not about anybody else. Do you really want to be laying on your back with somebody cutting open your stomach or somebody ripping your baby out of you and then saying, oh, your baby has some problems, and then putting your baby in a box away from you? Like the connection between the mom and the baby in the first hour, this is called the golden hour, for the baby to go on the mom's skin to skin contact. There is research showing the mom's skin is the most effective thing in the world at regulating the body's baby temperature, the baby's body temperature. So even if you have a premature baby and your baby lacks fat and is a little bit cold, you put that baby on your skin and it's regulating already. Even machines, blankets, all of these things that they've tested are nothing compared to the mom's skin. And so they're taking this away from mothers and babies, and this is on purpose, really, to break the connection. And the more I talk about this, the more passionate I get. I thought I was just going to make a short little video, but the more I think about it, the more reasons there are. And when I stop filming, I'm probably going to think of more, but I'm going to leave that as it is. And again, this is so important because these babies coming in, this is our future, this is our world, this is your baby, and you really, really want the first experience to be beautiful, because I will remember this experience for the rest of my life. So those are just a few reasons why natural birth is the way to go and why I will always stand by it. There's so many resources out there again, and just believe in yourself. You can do this. You were built to birth. Think about your ancestors. Think about people in other countries. What are they doing? People without access to modern medical care, they're birthing their babies, and their babies are usually coming out much better. Look at babies in the States these days. It's a mess. They're not healthy. So you and your baby deserve health, freedom, peace, love, and I'm sending that to everybody watching. Thank you so much if you watched this far. I hope you learned something. If you have your own home birth experience, let me know. I want to share more about it. If you have any questions, please comment below. And yes, I'm glad she slept through this whole thing. She's super peaceful. Why? Because she came out peacefully.